We've definitely got a corrupt system. We've got fiat currency, which is nothing but debt notes. Every time they're used, it creates more debt, and the people at the top that create this monetary system are controlling everyone by pieces of paper.
There's wars everywhere. You know, there's people dying. There's people dying of cancer when they've got a cure for cancer.
I think most people do realise that we have got corrupt governments, but they can't find the solutions to this, and that's what the problem truly is. They're protesting and they're doing something that they feel should make a change, but unfortunately, protests don't make any change at all. All they do is, if something happens on a protest, you'll have high court action, and that's where laws are changed and more rights are taken away from people every single time. Look at Occupy, that finalised squatting law. Like with the Bank of Ideas now set as president in case law, they're just pushing squatting law through every time.
We are in a prison planet. It's a slave system, it's simple as that. And they use commerce to do that.
A statute is what Parliament passes through, and it's a rule of society. Now, it's not law. The law is no harm, loss, fraud and breach of the peace. But that's a bit of a wide ball game, that one. But statutes and acts like the Road Traffic Act, the Misuse of Drugs Act, bedroom tax will be an act. They all require consent to be given the force of law.
So are you saying that people could just not pay it if they don't consent to it?
Well, it's not quite that simple, because people have to operate in this world of commerce. And the way I see it, the world of commerce is nothing more than paper slavery. They basically created this system where most people cannot live in society without using their name day in, day out. You've got a bank account which has a name, you have to pay rent with a name, your money from work is all done via the name. And the name ties back to the birth certificate, which is a bonded instrument, which is Crown copyright, and it's owned by the Treasury.
It's not something that the average man on the street really has looked into, is it? They don't understand the likes of maritime admiralty law and how it operates.
Don't.
And most police officers don't, to be fair, neither.
Your name, what you think is your name, isn't. It's been created after the Bankruptcy Act because they took all the gold and silver away from the system. Now, what actually backs the value of money is you and your promise to keep using their system, i.e. using the name every day, because every time you use the system, you use money, you're creating debt, which the guys at the top of the pyramid actually really enjoy, because they're the ones controlling, and the more debt that people are in, the more poverty, the more control they have.
The relationship between the governments and the banks, in my opinion, they control governments pretty much, so they trump every government.
A multitude of levels that all work hand in hand, whether it'll be the national health care system. It's there to make millions out of people being sick. So they patent and copyright everything that they create, and there's new laws being passed all the time, which is going to take away the rights to use natural products. There's Codex Alimentarius, which has been passed through in EU directive, which is going to just strip people's rights to use natural products and things like that, so it all has to go through the pharmaceutical industry. And it's just wrong. The education system, it's all upside down and backwards. They're not there teaching you how to think, they're teaching you like what to think. It's corruption within corruption within corruption.
That's what enslaves us, of course. Bankers' child interest is what's got us to where we are today.
If I was the one that created the monetary system and I loaned you £1 million and said you've got to give me back 1 million plus 10%, but there is nothing else in existence, you'll have to borrow from me again to find that 10%. So it just creates more and more debt over time, and now we've reached the pinnacle of that, where it's about to collapse in on itself, and the monetary system will collapse in such a way that people will go, like, how many people could live without money, truly? It's near enough impossible. So what would happen is big riot situations, which will all be orchestrated and controlled by the government, and then they'll go, there's a problem there. And the reaction is that the people are going, right, we need to sort this out. So the people will actually bring in a one world government, a one world currency. And because there is no money of value, and everybody is realising this, the only solution is get a nice little chip under your skin, barcode yourself for life and swipe your way through. And if you don't work for the system, they'll switch it off.